If you are into sewing, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. In their work, every dressmaker accumulates enormous stocks of accessories. I have dozens of kilograms. All these accessories can be used for tambour embroidery. During this project, in this course, and the consecutive courses, I will demonstrate rather unusual and non-standard accessories which can be used for embroidery. Everybody knows that the accessories can be of absolutely different quality. I must say right away that I am not a supporter of the idea to impose limits while selecting the accessories and to use, for example, only the Japanese beads, or the Czech beads, or only Swarovski elements. I don't think it is correct, and let me explain my point. Certainly, it is necessary to use high-quality accessories for certain face embroidery elements, which are visible and attract the most attention. Although many people do not realize that it is enough to use accessories of average quality for so-called paddings, backgrounds, and internal parts of voluminous embroidery, as they have the auxiliary function. Now, I would like to very briefly introduce the main types of the accessories. I start with seed beads. Seed beads can be of various types and producers. The seed beads can be round and are classified according to the numbers depending on the size, and the smaller the beads are, the bigger its numbering is. The smallest beads are number 15, and the most popular beads are number 11 and number 8. Here you can see the Chinese beads, number 15. They are used to embroider paddings for extra volume. They can be used as wisps, but you need to constantly consider how visible this embroidery will be. For those particular purposes, the cheap Chinese beads will be suitable enough. Here you can see the seed beads number 11. They are bigger than the seed beads number 15. They might be round or triangle. A few words about the difference between the seed beads produced in China and in the Czech Republic, and in the Czech Republic and in Japan. They differ in quality. The quality means the composition of the seed beads and its calibration. The Japanese beads are made of glass and ideally calibrated. The beads from the Czech Republic can be plastic or glass. They are well calibrated, but sometimes there is a difference in the sizes. Regarding the Chinese beads, the cheap beads are plastic and non-calibrated, as all beads are of different size, although they can be used as background and padding. Seed beads can be in the forms of sticks, which can be of various lengths, straight and twisted. I think that there is no need to talk a lot about the seed beads. Just go to the shop, check what you want, and select according to your needs. I will give you the useful advice. Do not try to get a lot of accessories for any case in life. You need to try everything. Set up a task to embroider a particular flower, a pattern, or a leaf, just anything. Buy or get from your stock some accessories for this element. Embroider a test sample. Check if the accessories are suitable for this element, and only after go and buy. It is impossible to give the universal advice which accessories to use for embroidery of your particular element. Use the accessories which you like and are suitable for your needs. Let us talk about sequins. Sequins can be monochromatic, colored, hologram, transparent, and semi-transparent, and with a diameter varying from 3 millimeters to several centimeters. The best sequins for embroidery are those with rather large central holes, as we need to thread or to hook them depending on the embroidery technique. They can be voluminous or shaped, which imitate a certain element, for example, a leaf or a petal. There are hundreds of types of sequins. For example, this is how the cup sequins look. I should admit that I am pretty satisfied with the quality of the Chinese sequins. They do not melt and become flat under the iron, and they do not discolor when washed. I often use the Chinese sequins of various colors: silver, white, mica-like, and transparent. I am quite happy about the embroidery with such sequins. Let's discuss rhinestone chains. Those chains can be classified according to the size of the rhinestones. There are thin and gentle chains, and there are more massive ones. You can see here I demonstrate the Chinese rhinestone chains. They perfectly shine and shimmer. There are separate rhinestones in metallic frames or so-called mounted rhinestones. They can be sewn on manually or with a hook. There are decorative rhinestones of various shapes in the form of flowers, round or oval. I also use both large rhinestones with holes and mounted rhinestones. Pearls are widely used in embroidery. Here you can see the Swarovski pearls. These are expensive, high-quality glass pearls with gorgeous shimmering flow. Pearls can be of various shades, from yellowish to neutral and bluish. I also have the Czech pearls. They are of good quality and color. Oddly enough, but you might need such cheap acrylic crystals. They are used as a padding to add extra volume to the embroidery. Now, let's discuss non-obvious auxiliary materials used in embroidery. Ribbons and strips of various widths can be used as an embroidery element, as well as paddings for extra volume. Thin lace ribbons can be used for making roses, using the same tambour stitching. These roses are placed on the embroidery or used as background or an outline. In general, it is difficult to predict what can pop up to our minds during the work. For example, you decide to use the Czech beads. You always need to pay attention to the size of the hole, though. It is desirable that the Luneville hook number 80 goes easily through the hole of the bead. In some important cases, I use very expensive Swarovski beads for the face embroidery. They are chic, faceted as crystal, and shiny. Besides, I also use very cheap accessories. For example, the ordinary textile Chinese flowers. The flowers are ready-made and you do not need to buy any additional tools to make them. The flowers can be sewn either by hand or with the Luneville or the American hooks. Moreover, you cannot even imagine how you can decorate your embroidery with fragments of lace leftovers from the previous work. I always recommend saving them, as the fabric is quite expensive and may be used in your future projects. Combining various laces with additional accessories or without them, you can create wonderful appliques and compositions with tambour stitching. In order to add some additional volume to an embroidery element, I often use very thin wire thread. And now I would like to introduce the irreplaceable assistant in embroidery, a spinner. Nothing makes the embroidery faster like this tool. Seed beads or sequins or any other accessories are placed into the spinner. The spinner is spun up and a special hook, which comes with the spinner, is inserted. The chain of beads is gathered on the hook, which is moved together on the embroidery thread fixed on the other side of the hook. The embroidery is more complicated without such a device because it is much longer to gather the accessories with a beading needle. Please bear in mind, the larger the accessories, the more difficult it is to gather them with the spinner, and the easier it is to gather by hand. Thus, it is better to use the spinner for smaller beads and sequins. Besides, the larger accessories are sewn on either with the hook in the Swarovski technique or by hand. It will be great if you have various containers with narrowed nozzles. It is convenient to pour the accessories into the spinner and the remaining accessories back to the container and then into the original bag where the accessories are stored. Despite the fact that glue is rarely used in embroidery, I recommend to have E6000 glue for rhinestones, as well as Gutermann glue, which I use to strengthen knots at the start and at the end of the embroidery chain. You need some beading needles as the auxiliary tools. We cannot go without beading needles, as sometimes we need to thread beads or to sew something, which is much more convenient with such a needle.